Hey my name is Sarah, and today we will be on our third stop of the book vacation. So, those of you who don't know, this vacation started out in England. Then we jumped over to its neighbor, Ireland, and now we shall cross over the English Channel into Europe. And so that means this book is themed in Poland. Before, during, and after, a little bit after the Second World War. And today's book, that is The Two Marias by Jonathan Kislev. Just trying to get the reflection out. This book was actually recommended to me by the author, and as I would say, a student of history, this book was breathtaking. So, and as you can see past the little glare, it says a true tale about true friendship. And it is a true story about two young girls who didn't seem to have anything in common, but then one day they just became best friends throughout their whole entire lives. So, I will be skipping non-spoilers and go straight into spoilers, since this was an actual event that took place during, before and during and after the Second World War. And I will not be giving this an official rating as I would for a fictional story, because this is a non-fiction. So, in a way, it actually did happen. So for those of you who love history, are students of history, and have a fascination for World War II, I highly recommend you not only pick this up, but this is a short story, so read the afterwards, how Jonathan came across this magnificent story and wrote about like I said, these two young women that as children they had nothing in common. They spoke one day and they became best friends, friendship that actually tested what would destroy a friendship, which is the war. So straight into spoilers. The reason why it's called The Two Marias is because there's a young girl named Maria and her best friend named Helena. And Helena, she is a rich girl. She's a rich daughter of 3 siblings, 2 older brothers, and you can tell basically how she holds herself as a young girl. And then you have Maria, whose parents basically working. She has to take care of her younger siblings, and she's probably, like, I wouldn't say the poor, but she's still in that category, because the girls in her class notice how she doesn't bring that much to eat at school. And another way how you can tell that Helena is rich is because she always talks about summer house, which is in a way part of this story, how Maria and Helena become very close friends. So before World War II, Helena and Maria, they really don't know each other. Helena's always with her other friends, always having fun, and Maria, besides taking care of her siblings, is bookworm smart, where people already know that she's already read the text for the class. So like she's going places. So one day their teacher just decides to switch up the seating schedule, and Helena ends up in the front with Maria, and she notices how Maria's taking notes, and she sends her own note saying, "You already probably read this whole thing, so why are you still doing this?" And thus their friendship begins. They both get sent to the principal's office. Helena bails them out, and they skip the rest of class and hang out. And so Maria, she's always keeping to herself and everything, and then all of a sudden she has this ecstatic friend that also brings her friends into Maria's life, and we see this young, shy girl just find herself and become this very strong, confident woman with a best friend by her side throughout this whole story. It's like the cover, even though it's not the Two Marias, it basically shows you of their friendship and how great they were together. They were like basically sisters. And so Helena, who is astounded that Maria never seen the sea because Poland is basically a landlocked country, she takes Maria one summer to her family's summer house, and they just have the best time of their lives there. And it's like, now Maria, because her mother says she's never been to the ocean, now Maria can say she has. Now, how it ties in, starts tying into World War II, is that besides them being in Poland, Maria is Catholic and Helena is Jewish. You can tell by that how Jonathan, he doesn't necessarily say what religion they are, but he describes in a way. He chooses different words to describe certain things, and he doesn't tell you what religion they are, but he gives you hints, saying Helena's wondering wondering what Christmas is like because she's never had one. And she notices how Maria's family always do the sign of the cross. And so one day she invites Maria to a synagogue. And so Maria's like wondering things as well about this religion. And so it's like these two girls from different religions, different backgrounds, and their parents were basically raised not to judge people by what their belief is. Maria's mom at first, when she sees Helena bring presents to Christmas, her first Christmas, she's a little difficult, but that's because Helena brings expensive gifts. It's not based on her religion, but just by the gifts. But over time, Helena becomes part of the family of Maria. So another way how Jonathan chose his different words was the opposing army, I believe that's what he said, referring to the German army coming into Poland. Now, he never said which country Maria and Helena belonged to. He just said that their country was invaded. So at the time, I was thinking maybe it was Austria or Poland. I really didn't know, but I just knew those two countries stood out in my mind. And so reading in the afterwards, I was like, okay, now I know what's going on. But the way how he just describes things without giving you like a full background just basically draws you into the story. So I like when the girls are like now already in college and the war is already happening, you're like, his choice of different words just makes you want to continue to see what's going to happen in this short story. So it's like Helena and her family get sent to the enclosure, in other words, the ghetto. And so while Maria is still at school, she notices how some of her school friends are now gone, or how some of them are referring to the Jews as them. And so she's like wondering what's going to happen until one day she no longer gets any letters from Helena. So she begins to worry. Another reason why I like this story so much is that we usually hear how the Holocaust survivors survive. In this case, it's how these people help hide or get Jews out. So when Maria starts hearing things, now that they're older, what's going on, like her father who drives the trains, he said that they take them, the Jews, somewhere, but the trains always come back empty. So Maria's beginning to worry about Helena, and she starts hearing from an old school friend who's now a college student, Roman, who he's hiding his girlfriend, and he knows people who make fake IDs. So, like I said, Maria, she's now this strong, confident woman, and she doesn't think twice about rescuing Helena. She's afraid for her friend's life. She's basically her sister. Her family cares about Helena, and they don't know what's happened to Helena's family as well because they were taken to the enclosure. So with the help of Roman and her basically threatening the guy who's making the fake IDs, she even said, if you I paid you, if you don't give me that ID right now, I'm gonna scream at the top of my lungs telling people who you are. He's like, okay, I got it. Okay, I got it, girl. And so she gets the fake ID. she's already timed out how the Jews are allowed to leave to the factories, and she already knows which group Helena's going to be. So she doesn't think, she doesn't double guess herself for a second. She sees Helena coming. She grabs her. She tears off the armband. She puts like a scarf around her, making her look more classy in a way. And they hightail it to the traveling cars. And so when they do escape with Roman, who's going to hide her with his girlfriend for one night at his father's barn, and Helena says that when they're with groups, they notice that whenever there's a person missing, and they never tell. So they're just hoping the person gets away. And so, yeah, basically, Maria, she already has, she knows that she has a relative in the capital, and her family basically grab what they can, and they give it to Helena. She now has a place to stay. She has someone that can possibly find her work to help her blend in. And her parents, her mom gave her extravagant meal because she knows that girl hasn't been eating so well. And her brother, Maria's brother, goes with Helena to the capital to make sure everything is alright. He even stays for a few days to make sure she has everything she needs. So, and as the war progresses and we get closer to the end, Helena and Maria had been training letters until one day she stopped getting letters. And so, again, Maria, being the friend that she is, goes to the capital, finds out that the train station where Helena used to work, because she now goes by the name Maria. Maria, the best friend, gave Helena her name to quickly come up with an ID, because back then you needed more than just a card. You needed, like, say, your birth certificate, your graduation of which high school you went to. You need multiple IDs. So thus, she's looking for another Maria with her name. But then she finds out that her and her co-workers, Helena, were singing a song that the German soldiers, that was insulting, and so they tried to catch them, but Helena got away, so no one's ever heard back from her. So Maria, who's distraught and everything, she just goes on. We hear about the liberating allies, and Maria's younger brother wants to join the rebellion that's going on. But we also find out this man who gives Maria and her family, after collecting some money, a letter from a different Maria with the last name. But that is Helena. She managed to get married paper-wise, and so she changed her last name, but she's still going by Maria. And now we know that she is in Germany working at a factory. So she's alive. She may be in the heart of the enemy, but they don't know that. And they have her address, so Maria's mother is just like making all kinds of food, and she's like, that girl hasn't been eating well. Like, she's been getting the basic stuff. Like, by basic, that means barely anything. So I like that about Maria's mom. She was kind of hard to warm up to, but as the years progress, she's the mother that you want. So at the end, Helena returns back home to Poland with the IDs, because they're still checking, but this will be like the last time she'll need to use them, and Maria is waiting at the train station. So that's like what happens in the very beginning. We see one Maria at the train station waiting, another Maria in the train, and then at the end they both reunite after so long. Helena's parents and one of her brothers died. One of her uncles and his family escaped, but her other brother and his fiance managed to survive, and they're waiting for Helena. So at the end, it basically cuts off where Maria and Helena are going to go visit her last remaining family. And so this is a short story. I tell you, it's like maybe half of this book. The rest of the part is the afterwards, about how Jonathan, again, came across the story and how he actually got into, I believe, contact with the actual Maria's daughter. And so it's like that was I'm completely speechless. I can't find the proper words to describe what I'm feeling as to how he actually found the actual Maria's mother. Now, again, this is not the actual picture because there wasn't any pictures that he could find of Maria and Helena, but he found this one, and basically it captivates this powerful friendship that was able to withstand a war and to help one dear friend rescue another. And so I will be leaving a link down below to Jonathan Kislev's not only webpage, because he also does art, but also his Google read. So because he's done other historical books such as this. And as for the actual Maria, if you want to know more about her, she is now into the Righteous Among the Nation website, where you can learn a little bit about more of her. Or if you want to hear more tales as to people who actually hid other people during the war, you can also check out the book I have written down here, We Were Just People, Stories of Rescue in Poland During the Holocaust. So like the people, like the first person that comes to mind of someone rescuing the Jews is of course Schindler, but we're talking about the average people, the people that took risks to help friends and family, and they were like basically, screw what's going on, I don't give a damn, I'm helping these people because they are important to me. And so these are the stories that we don't hear as much. Maybe like you would hear them if your friend had a family member that did this, and like these were stories that were passed down the generations, but we don't hear that much of them. So that's what makes this so astonishing. It's like I never knew about this, and I am so glad. Thank you, Jonathan Kislev, for recommending this book so much. I am a student and a lover of history. I knew what was going on for the timeline. I knew the locations, even though I was trying to figure out which country until I read the afterwards. And I can only just come up with the word astonishing. This was amazing, astonishing. And yeah, that's as far as I can get into it. True story. Again, lovers of history, people who find the Second World War fascinating, pick up this book. I highly recommend that you read this. It is a short story, but basically it will feel like you've read a lifetime, an actual lifetime story. It's so deep that it's, again, few words that can describe what I'm feeling. It's amazing. It's very amazing. So yeah, The Two Marias by Jonathan Kislev. My name is Sarah, and bye!